Hello, my friends. Welcome to the Cool, Calm, Connected podcast, a quarterback's guide to life and peak performance, where we learn how to become the best version of ourselves together. I'm your host, James Brady, and you're listening to episode 3, Mindset. As always, I'd like to begin the episode by taking a moment to help us become a little bit more present, a little bit more focused, a little bit more relaxed by connecting to our breath, getting our feet planted in the ground, shoulders down and back. It'll be a deep inhale through the nose and a nice smooth exhale through the mouth, and we'll do 3 of those together. Feet in the ground, shoulders down and back, into the nose, out to the mouth, into the nose, out to the mouth. Last one, into the nose, out to the mouth. Next, taking a moment to tap into gratitude together, repeating the gratitude mantra I like to repeat all day, every day. It's going to be thank you, thank you, thank you. I am so, so grateful. I am so, so, so appreciative. Just taking a moment to be grateful, thankful, and appreciative for all the good things that are happening in our everyday lives, things that sometimes we might take for granted. Just really appreciating and being grateful for everything that is happening, so that we can attract more of the positive that we're looking to attract in our everyday lives. So if you'll repeat after me, thank you, thank you, thank you. I am so, so grateful. I am so, so, so appreciative. Now let's dive in. Episode 3, titled Mindset. Mindset is a pretty vast topic. Right? We're talking about the human mind and how it functions and how we can use it and how we can develop it and how it's become what it is and everything in between. It is a vast topic that I'm sure we could do an entire show on, multiple episodes over years of time. But what I'd like to do today is hit on some main topics, share some definitions, just center and hone in on the basics, so we can start to get an idea of how our minds work, why they work the way that they do, and things that we can do to make positive changes to help ourselves become who it is we want to become, live how we want to live, and achieve what we want to achieve. So, starting with a couple quick stories, I can think of 3 specific times in my life where my mindset played an incredibly valuable and impactful role. First, being my high school football career. Even a lot of you who know me might not be aware of what my playing career was like, but the best way I can put it, my high school football experience really couldn't have gone much better. League championships, all-state player, league player of the year, all of my dreams really came true, and I attribute a lot of how I was able to perform and what I was able to achieve to my mindset. There was nothing more important in the world to me than becoming the best football player, quarterback, and leader for the St. Anthony's program that I could possibly be. And what came along with that were things like sacrifice, discipline, dedication, hard work, relentless effort. The one thing I know for sure is, you could say maybe a couple other guys might have been a little bit better, whatever the case, but one thing I know for sure, and I will go to my grave on, is that I worked harder than anybody else. And I optimized my potential. I left no stone unturned. And that started with my mindset. It was a decision that I made that I wanted to be the best I could possibly be. And because I knew that's what I wanted, I did whatever it took. But it began with my mindset, wanting to be great, and then willing to do whatever it took to be great and the best I could possibly be. Moving on into my college career, I'd say was the complete opposite. It was the opposite of achieving my dreams. I had the experience, but in terms of outcome and success, it was not everything I had hoped for. And now I attribute a lot of that back to my mindset. A lot of how I handled adversity, I didn't handle it well. Started with getting injured, experiences like getting benched, being the backup, having to work my way up the depth chart. It was the opposite of being the best and being great. And anytime I battled through adversity, I made my way through, but kind of by the skin of my teeth. I look back now and know I could have done a lot more. I could have been a lot better. But it began with my mindset. I came across challenging situations and I did not persevere through them the best way I possibly could. I allowed it to get the best of me. I allowed it to affect me negatively. Tearing my labrum and my throwing shoulder 3 times throughout college, adverse situation, but things happen. It's football. And every time it happened, I handled it worse and worse and worse. And what I mean by that is I began focusing on the wrong things, not putting the time, energy, and effort that I should have been to heal properly, to come back better than I was. And those were decisions that I made. And that began with my mindset. Because it was hard and because it kept happening, I allowed it to get to me. And that resulted in me, even though being there and having the experience, getting passed over for starting jobs, not being able to play as much as I wanted to, and having the experience not unfold the way I would have liked and the way I always dreamt, but it came down to my mindset and the decisions that I made. Moving on again, flipping the script, having been through that, learned those lessons, knowing what not to do, building this business, the quarterback training operation, building Cool Calm Connected, everything that we are doing, everything that you see, the primary thing I attribute it to is my mindset. From the first day I got the idea to do quarterback training, I believed with my full mind and all my heart that this is what I was going to do for the rest of my life. That was a belief that I decided to hold in my mind and then make the sacrifices, be disciplined, and do all the work and do all the things necessary to get to where we are today over 15 years. But it started with my mindset. I get to do the thing I love most, helping people get better at the thing that they love to do most all day, every day. And I'm living the life of my dreams because I decided to believe it was possible. And I decided to believe that I had the capacity to do whatever it takes to make it happen. That's the fundamental root of how it's grown and developed, with my belief in its possibility and my belief in myself to make it happen. So over the course of my experience in football and life, I've seen how powerful our mindset can be to get us to achieve what we want, receive what we want, be who we want to be. And I can also see how powerful it can be when we're not utilizing it properly, how it can negatively impact us, how it can get us further away from the life we desire and the achievements we want to achieve and being who we want to be and everything in between. So I want everybody to know I'm not coming from a place of, I read a few books and this is good information. These are all things, everything I'm going to be sharing that I'll always share are things that I've learned by going through situations that needed answers. I found the answers. I applied them to my life. I figured out what works. I figured out what doesn't work. And now I'm sharing it with you. So today, any and all things mindset, we're going to go through some definitions, go through some tools and practices. And again, it's a vast, vast topic. We are not by any means going to cover everything that has to do with mindset today. It's really an introduction conversation, sharing some vocabulary, sharing some insights to kind of wet the whistle and get the wheels turning and get you to understand and believe, like, hey, mindset is important. The same way our fundamentals, our skill sets, our knowledge of the game are all things that we need in any field to be successful at what we do. My opinion, honestly, our mindset is just as important, if not more important, than the physical and the fundamental. So the first thing that I'd like us to all get on the same page on is that our minds are malleable, meaning that they are designed to change. Think of how human beings have evolved over time. There was a point in time human beings existed, couldn't speak to each other. There was no verbal language. But what has happened and evolved over time? We've developed the ability and the capacity to do that. Where did that all happen? In the mind. So that brief, quick, simple, true, factual example is proof that our minds are designed to change. We're going to talk about it in detail, but it's an unfortunate reality that I believe way too many people think this is just how I am. This is the way I think, the way I perceive the world, the way I respond to things, the way I talk to myself. It's just the way my mind functions. And that's just not true. It couldn't be further from the truth. And it's that mindset, that limiting belief system, that limits our potential and our capacity to live the life we want and achieve our dreams. So the first thing we just want to get clear on, and I'm just asking you to trust and believe, is that our minds are malleable. They are moldable. They are shapeable. They are designed to change. If we don't have that fundamental base to build off of, literally none of this matters. Everything else I'm going to say, it doesn't matter. Because everything I'm going to say is all about how our minds function and how we can change them for the better. So the definition of mindset in the dictionary goes as such. Mindset is the established set of mental attitudes held by someone. Just sit with that for a second, think about it. Mindset is the established set of mental attitudes held by someone. The primary word there being established. They have been created. They are there now. Just because your mindset is the way it is currently doesn't mean it needs to stay that way. And no matter how much work we've done and no matter how we're currently operating, it is my belief that in particular, our mindsets, how our minds function, can always keep getting better. So whatever has currently been established in that mind of yours, I'm encouraging you, and I'm hoping I'm inspiring and motivating you to be open and willing to change, to change those established mental attitudes for the better, to be who you want to be, to live how you want to live, to achieve what you want to achieve, and create the life that you want. Expanding a little bit, what I believe mindset is. I believe our mindset is a combination of our beliefs, our belief systems, our habitual thought patterns, just the way we think, how we perceive our reality and how we respond to it. It's how we think about ourselves and how we talk to ourselves. It's a combination of all of that and more. But those are the primary things that we're going to be discussing, is our belief systems, our thought patterns, our perception of our reality, how we respond to it, and how we think about ourselves and talk to ourselves. These are all things that are not set in stone. I'll talk quickly about how mindsets become established outside of our control, just as we're growing up and we go through life and we have different experiences. Every time someone talks to us, every time something happens, kind of autopilot of the mind creates and establishes the way you think and perceive and respond to things. And that's called conditioning. Your mind has been conditioned to operate a certain way over time. And this is my belief, and it's no fault of anyone, especially everybody listening, all well-intentioned, good-hearted people, that just collectively as a society, it's my opinion, we are conditioned to focus on the negative, to look for what's wrong, to worry about what could possibly go wrong, to doubt ourselves, to fear the future. If you just think about the news as a basic example, turn on the evening news, and what are you going to see? So-and-so was shot in this town. Hit and run, and driver passes away in this town. A fire at a local business and the place burns down. It's literally all of the worst things happening in the world. And there's a lot of reasons for all that. We're not going to get into it. But that's just a basic example. The evening news, something that millions of people watch every single night, is showing us all of the worst things that are happening in the world. It's just a simple example of how our society has conditioned our minds to focus on the negative over time. So if you first aren't aware that that's happening, your mind is going to be taking in all that information and just say, well, the world is a super dangerous place. I have to be on high alert at all times. I need to be stressed. I need to be afraid of what's going to happen to me. I need to worry. If we are not aware that that's what's happening around us, and if we are not aware that we have control over our thought patterns and our perception. So that's how our minds develop, is they are conditioned over time, primarily based off of external circumstances, because really when we're young, no one is teaching us how to perceive things to use them to our advantage, how to perceive them in a way and think about these things in a way to make it useful, to make it beneficial, to enjoy it more, to be happier. These things just aren't taught to us. But that's why we're here, and that's why we're doing this. So your brain has been conditioned over time to operate a certain way. It's not your fault, but it is your responsibility to take control of it. And if you don't like how your brain and your mind is currently functioning, if you believe your mindset could be better and more beneficial for you, it is your responsibility to choose to make a change. And all the information I'm going to share today, hopefully, will help you do just that. So I have a nice simple example of a specific mindset. And this is what in our quarterback development operation we call the standard. It's 4 words. It's intention, focus, detail, and effort. Intention, focus, detail, effort. And what it is a mindset. It is 4 things to focus our mind on in our way of operating and functioning when we are working on our craft. Intention, doing things with purpose and on purpose. Focus, having all of our awareness and concentration directed to the task at hand. Detail, paying attention to and focusing on the little things that may seem insignificant but are actually extremely important. And then effort, choosing to do our best and put forth great effort. Those 4 things are all happening in the mind, and those 4 things are all conducive to becoming the best version of ourselves and making progress and growth in any craft, in any field. So that's a specific example of a mindset. It's a set of focus points for our mind. Intention, focus, detail, effort. And we're going to discuss 2 types of mindsets in particular. A fixed mindset and a growth mindset. And one of the best books I've ever read, especially on this subject, is called Mindset, right here by Dweck. It's a book I cannot recommend any more highly to any and everyone listening. If you're listening to this, you want to better yourself, and this has been one of the most influential and powerful books in my own development and getting a basic understanding of how the mind works and things that I can do to make a positive change. In the description, I have included a list of books on mindset, things that have been very influential for me to think differently. And Mindset is on there, and there's a list of about 7-8 more books. If you're interested and you want to get into some reading, I highly recommend checking those out. Okay, so now in this book, Mindset, Dweck, the author, centers on 2 specific different kinds of mindsets. First, being a fixed mindset, and then second is a growth mindset. So first, I'm going to define a fixed mindset directly from Dweck. In a fixed mindset, people believe their basic qualities, like their intelligence or talent, are simply fixed traits, meaning that they are untrainable and they are just born with them. They spend their time documenting and focusing on their intelligence or talent or production outcome instead of developing them. They also believe that talent alone creates success without effort. It's my opinion that for whatever reasons in today's day and age, there are way too many people that operate with a fixed mindset. This is just how I am. This is who I am. That this is what I was born with, and this is as good as it's going to get. It's fascinating to come across and witness. It couldn't be further from the truth, but this is what a fixed mindset is. Now, operating with a fixed mindset has been proven to lead to increases in stress, anxiety, overwhelm, and decrease in confidence and self-esteem, which in my opinion takes the fun out of the game, out of learning in school, out of whatever it is that we're doing, and places a seriously low ceiling on our potential and our development. So a fixed mindset is just that frame of mind that I am how I am. This is just who I am. This is what I was born with. And not believing that you can make a change and train and develop your skill sets and your mindset. On the flip side, a growth mindset, Carol Dweck defines a growth mindset as, in a growth mindset, people believe that their most basic abilities can be developed through dedication and hard work and effort. Brains and talent are just the starting point. This view creates a love of learning and a resilience that is essential for great accomplishment. It's essentially just choosing to believe that you can change, as we started the episode with. You can change your mind. You can change your fundamentals. You can change your skill sets. You can change your habits. You can change everything about yourself through dedication and hard work and effort. Doing the work consistently over an extended period of time will eventually lead to positive changes. Now, into developing a growth mindset, I've kind of broken it down into three main things. Now, the book is fantastic, and it goes into detail and a lot of different things. And based off of reading it and my notes and my studies, there's three things in particular that I think apply directly to everybody listening, very relevant to us, and they make a little bit more sense of what a growth mindset is and how we can work to develop. And just to be clear, we 100% want to work to operate with a growth mindset, not a fixed mindset. So the three things, in my opinion, that developing a growth mindset comes down to are: first is our perception of mistakes. Second, detaching from the outcome and becoming process-driven. Third, eliminating fear of failure. So let's talk about the first one, perception of mistakes. How we view mistakes, what we think they are, how we respond to them, and how we let them affect us. Now, I get a kick out of it. Again, in our quarterback training operation, a lot of people aren't aware to the vast degree of what we do and how it operates. We quite literally work with hundreds of kids weekly. And that means I get exposed to a lot of different kids from a lot of different demographics, all different ages and skill levels. But what about 95% of the all new kids when they first start have in common is their perception of mistakes and how they perceive mistakes as a bad thing. Here's why. They are operating with a fixed mindset in that they believe that when they make a mistake, it is a reflection of their ability and who they are. That they are not good because they just missed a throw. They miss a throw and you would think the world ended. Oh, shoot. And they get all upset with themselves and say, whoa, hey, chill, man. It's all good. We're going to learn to use mistakes to our advantage. So if we're operating with a fixed mindset, and we believe that or perceive mistakes as a bad thing and are a reflection of our current ability, every time we make a mistake, it's only going to affect us negatively. It's going to hurt us. It's literally going to make us go backwards. We want the complete opposite. We want to be working to go forwards. So first things first, I think it's very important that we get clear that no matter what you are doing, no matter what stage of life that you are in, no matter what craft you're working on, no matter what field, mistakes are not only okay, they're encouraged. You're going to make a lot of mistakes. They're going to happen. Nobody's perfect. No one expects you to be. And it's irrational to think that we might be. So because we're never going to be perfect, we know mistakes will happen. I believe we should put some knowledge, tools, and skill sets in place to be able to use them to our advantage. If we know they're going to be happening, let's use them to help us keep growing and developing. So mistakes are not only okay, they're encouraged. And here's what I suggest: our mindset, how we perceive them, is that mistakes are opportunities to grow. They're simple data points. It's a reference to pull from and learn from. If you make a mistake and you take a second to become aware of what just happened and why, now you know what you don't want to do next time. So on the next rep, you can move forward a little bit more positively. And above all else, you'll enjoy your experience more. A lot of us listening are athletes. We play games that we love. We want to enjoy them more. We want to have more fun. We want to experience it in all of its glory. If every time we make a mistake, we're beating ourselves up, we're taking all the fun out of it. It's not going to be enjoyable. And what I know from being around a lot of people who never buy into everything I'm currently talking about, they keep beating themselves up. They keep perceiving mistakes as a bad thing, as a reflection of their ability. And guess what happens eventually at some point in time? They quit. This is not fun. They don't like it. What's the point of doing something if every time you do it, you're just beating yourself up and not enjoying it? There is no point. And if they don't quit, they definitely don't perform well. So, perception of mistakes. Mistakes are not only okay, they're encouraged. Mistakes are simply opportunities to learn and grow. Choose to perceive mistakes that way. You will learn more, you'll grow faster, and you'll enjoy your experience more along the way. Next, a little more challenging, but detaching from the outcome. And now more than ever, I think there is more of a focus on the outcome, the end result. Things like NIL deals, scholarships, and with social media, you're always seeing people and all their achievements. It's very, very easy to focus on the outcome. The primary reason we want to detach from the outcome, not focus on the outcome, is for one simple reason. We can't control it. We cannot control the ultimate outcome. When the game starts, that first play, that first drive, we cannot do anything in that moment that will ultimately decide if we win the game or not. When the season begins, that first game, that first drive, that first play, we cannot do anything that will ultimately decide if we make the playoffs. All we have is one rep at a time. But what happens when we focus on the outcome, we create the space for worry, doubt, and fear to fill our minds. We make one mistake and one bad play, and instead of just seeing that play for what it is and seeing it as an opportunity to grow, because we're so fixed and focused on the outcome, we have to win this game. I have to perform well to earn a scholarship. You make one mistake, and now those outcomes that you're focusing on feel like they might not happen. Now, how's that going to make us feel in the present? Worried, doubtful, stressed, anxious, nervous, because we're afraid of not being able to get and receive and achieve what we want in the future. So it negatively impacts us in the present, which, ironically, does not help us create what it is that we want. We want to learn how to become process-driven, and it really comes back to being present. Learning how to focus and control what we are in control of. And I say it all the time, all we got is one breath, one rep. If we can really learn to focus on one breath at a time, one rep at a time, do our best, do our job in that moment, on that one rep. We do that over and over and over and over and over again. That is the best way to create the desired outcomes and results that you want in the future. Now, I do want to say there is a lot of power in setting long-term goals, having things to work towards achieving. But those are not the driving force. Those are things to work towards, to give great effort, to focus on being present on this rep, giving incredible, intentional, detailed, focused effort over and over and over again to fuel you to move towards something. But whether that happens or not in the end is irrelevant. There is a quote or a phrase that I love in the mindfulness meditation world, is that the purpose of the practice is the practice. We are only entitled to the work, never its fruits. Meaning, if we were going to plant a tree, all we are entitled to is the work and effort that it takes to make the tree grow. You prepare the soil, you plant the seeds, you water the roots, and day after day you water and you nurture and you water and you nurture and you water and you nurture. That's all you're in control of. Whether the tree actually grows and produces fruit or not, that you have nothing to do with that other than preparing the soil, planting the seeds, watering the roots. Planting the seeds, watering the roots is the process. It's what you're in control of. So we want to learn to detach from the outcome, learn to focus on the process, be present, and take it one breath at a time, one rep at a time. If we allow ourselves to focus too much on the end result and outcome, it's only going to create more worry, doubt, fear, stress, and anxiety in the present moment, which prevents us from playing well and ultimately achieving what we desire in the future. Lastly, something that is absolutely huge and powerful that I can't wait to talk about and share is eliminating the fear of failure. I see it most often on a football field in a training situation, and a younger kid makes a throw, makes a mistake, misses a throw. They tense up and their eyes jet over to the sideline like someone's going to yell at them, probably because that's what happens. And it breaks my heart. And I make a very intentional effort to do nothing else in that moment than to go over to that kid and share all of these things to help them just relax. Remember, it's a game and play. And because if we are afraid to fail, if we are afraid to make mistakes, for whatever reasons, we will not be able to learn from our mistakes along the way. We are not going to enjoy what we are doing, and will ultimately fail. If you have a fear of failure for a multitude of reasons, all it's going to do is create failure. The word in and of itself, just think about the energy that word carries, failure. Lost a game, threw an interception. You made a mistake, didn't get the scholarship that you wanted. You failed a test, failure. Again, they're simple data points. If we do something and then the end result is a failure, all that's showing us is where we need to be better, probably in our preparation, how we attack our process, letting go of the outcome, so that we can be more present, focused, confident, and relaxed in the present moment to be able to get the results that we desire. So it's very similar to perception of mistakes. And it's easier said than done, but eliminating the fear of failure. Sit with it for a second. What is the worst possible outcome? I'll use this as an example. What's the worst possible outcome of this podcast? The worst possible outcome is that nobody watches it. It never grows. It never catches on. People don't find value in it, and it never grows and creates more impact and all the things that can come with it. That's the worst case scenario. That would be a failure. I literally haven't considered it until this moment. I'm just using it as an example. If I allow myself to focus on that, what if nobody watches? What if it doesn't make the impact I think it can make? What if it doesn't create more opportunities for myself and my business and my family that I think it'll create? What if all those things happen and the podcast and the project is just a failure? Well, I can guarantee you, if that was my mindset, I would never make the friggin' podcast. I wouldn't sit down and do the work. I wouldn't be putting in all the effort and doing all the creation. And then what would happen? All those things I'm afraid of not happening will certainly not happen. So eliminate your fear of failure. If you want something, go after it. If you make a mistake, if something doesn't go well, if it could have been better, stare at it in the face and figure out how to be better. Make your adjustments and move on. And enjoy the ride along the way. And one word that I talk about a lot and I absolutely love, directly relates to mindset, is perspective. Our perspective is how we choose to think about things. And a phrase that I love, and I want you to sit with for a second here. It is what you think it is. Whatever it is to you what you think it is. When something happens, the thoughts you allow yourself to think about that is what that reality becomes to you. It's a little abstract, it might seem a little profound, but it's also very simple. And the reason I'm so big on perspective is because it's a choice. It's a decision that we make. I say it a lot, is that our superpower is our power to choose. We get to choose how we perceive things. And what I think is so interesting is that there's a positive and negative in everything. If you ever look at a battery, there's a positive symbol on one side, a negative symbol on the other, right? What's so fascinating is that's kind of how the whole universe is constructed. Our words, our actions, what's happening in our reality, everything exists because there's polar opposites within that. Something happens and two people witness it. One person might think it's the worst thing that's ever happened to them, and the other person might be super excited about what just happened because they see it as an opportunity to grow. The same thing happens, two different perceptions. Who's going to enjoy that experience better? Who's going to be better for it in the long run? The person who chooses to find the positive in whatever is happening around them. And when I talk about positivity, it's easy for some people to say, like, well, not everything is good, right? Shit happens. Life is hard. That's true. But what we are in control of to create the process and experience that we have in our everyday lives is what we choose to focus on about anything. So when I'm talking about positive thinking, what I'm not saying is, what I want to make clear is I'm not saying it's just all good. It's all rainbows and cupcakes. The world is just this beautiful, magnificent place and nothing ever goes wrong. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is when shit does hit the fan, when life is hard, when you have challenging and difficult decisions to make, when you get hurt, you get your heart broken, whatever it is, things don't unfold your way in any capacity. The fact of the matter is your life is going to continue afterwards. Okay, if we want our life to continue afterwards in a more aligned fashion with who we want to be and how we want to live and what we want to achieve, when shit does hit the fan, we have the choice to decide how we're going to look at it. Because if we look at it as, poor me, why me, I have the worst luck, well, guess what's going to keep happening? Those types of things, because that's how you're perceiving anything. You're focusing on the negative, and whatever you focus on, you attract. Energy flows where attention goes. If you are consistently focusing on the negative in any circumstance, you are going to attract and experience more negative. It's just how it works. So we have the power to choose to focus on the positive, especially when shit hits the fan. Say I blow my shoulder out in the middle of the season. That sucks. I'm not sugarcoating that. That sucks. But if I sit there and focus on the negative, why do bad things happen to me? This isn't fair. This shouldn't have happened to me. It should have happened to somebody else. Things like this always happen to me. you're literally creating your own living hell, and now you're wasting time. And you're not going to enjoy it at all. The fact of the matter is, blew your shoulder out, season's over. Okay, what is this here to teach me? What can I learn from this? How can I use this situation to my advantage to help me grow and continue to better myself? Okay, well, I can't throw, I can't lift. Well, maybe what it's showing me is that I've been neglecting my schoolwork a little bit. And if I want to really create the opportunities I want for myself in the future, this is a great opportunity for me to spend more time on my schoolwork. I can't do as much physically, but I can spend more time on my schoolwork. Now, if I see it that way and I do that and I put more time, energy, and effort into my schoolwork, what's going to happen to my grades? They're going to go up. That's a good thing. You're becoming a better version of you in a different area of your life. That's just a simple example. And we can do that with anything. It's how we choose to perceive things, especially when shit hits the fan. I'm challenging you. When shit hits the fan, when things get hard, choose to see it in a way that will allow you to see the opportunities and potential. And there's a simple tool, and I'll talk about it a little bit later, is what I like to call reframing. When something happens and we see it negatively, that way we're perceiving it is a frame. Here's the practice, what reframing is. Something happens and you think, oh, I have the worst luck. A reframe of I have the worst luck is I have the best luck. I'm so lucky that this just happened. I'm so glad that this shitty situation just happened. This is exactly what I need right now to move forward into the future, become the best version of me. And another way I like to say it too is, if you're aware of what hindsight is, there's a phrase you say, hindsight is 20/20, meaning it's easy to look back on something and say, oh, that's why that happened. That's why I had to experience that. These are the lessons I need to learn. That's easy to see. Something bad happens. Now a year later, you're able to look back and say, oh, I know, that's why that happened. That's what hindsight is, looking back and being able to see the lesson that you needed. Foresight is the opposite. Foresight is looking forwards. Something happens in your present current reality. What foresight is that in the present, something happens, not ideal, something hard, something challenging. And in that moment, you choose to believe that this hard thing that's happening is exactly what you need, and that there's a lesson to be learned that's going to help you grow and develop into a better version of yourself in the future. So when things get hard, when shit hits the fan, when you're struggling, when you hit adversity, notice any negative thought patterns around that situation. Choose to reframe it, focusing on the positive, and have the foresight to trust and understand that's what's happening to you in this moment is a gift being given to you to learn and grow from and come out better on the other side. The last primary thing here that I'd like to talk about before we get into some smaller things is self-talk. That voice in our heads that is going all day long, that thinks our thoughts and that has this internal dialogue. Something I came across recently that I absolutely love is, don't listen to yourself, talk to yourself. Take control of that voice. And there's something that I do. I say I'm becoming my own best coach. A practice I've put in place with my self-talk is, instead of saying I need to, I have to, I want to, I say you. You need to, you have to, you want to. It's as if someone else is talking to me. I've found that creating that subtle adjustment makes it a lot easier for me to take action on the thoughts that I'm having. So I kind of grew up with this limiting self-belief that, this is just a thought pattern I chose to attach to, that I can do anything if somebody tells me how. Tell me what to do and I can do anything. But if I'm left to my own devices, I just can't figure it out. And for a long time, that's what was true. If I didn't have a coach or an instructor or someone telling me what to do and how to do it, I was useless. And it's just because I chose to believe that. Now, on the flip side, it's good to be coachable and to receive feedback and take things people are sharing with you and use them and do them. But at the end of the day, all we got is ourselves, and we need to learn how to be our own best coach. And that is a simple trick I've put in place with my own self-talk to better myself, to be more consistent, to be more disciplined, to do the things that I need to do, to live how I want to live and achieve what I want to achieve. Instead of listening to myself saying, I talk to myself and I say, you. Simple trick. So our self-talk is really the beliefs that we consistently think, and it's that internal dialogue, right? A little exercise I'd like us to partake in quickly. If you're still here listening, awesome. This is a great exercise. I want you to do quickly is think about what that voice in your head is saying to you and about you consistently, all day, every day. Now, what would you do if there was like a little gremlin walking next to you all day long, saying all the same stuff? What would you do? Most often, the answer I get from people is, I knock them out. I tell them to get away from me. Like, tell them to shut up. Right? Now do this. Say the word hello in your head. Say the word hello in your head. Who controlled that? Interesting, huh? So we've just proven to ourselves that we do have control over the thoughts that we think. And we've also brought awareness to we don't always like the way our mind behaves. So because we have control over the thoughts that we think, and we're aware that we don't like the way it behaves consistently, what do we now have the power to do? We have the power to choose to make a change. And this is where self-talk comes in, and why meditation is very powerful. Episode 2 was all about meditation. Meditation is the practice of noticing how your thoughts and your mind are behaving and choosing to redirect your focus and attention back to your focus point. It creates space between stimulus, the mind becoming active, and how you respond. So it's this simple of a practice. Noticing when your mind is thinking thoughts and saying things that you don't want to be thinking. It's saying things about you that you don't want to believe about yourself. Simply notice it. Detach from it. Just see it as that little gremlin talking shit. Say, no, that's not what I want to think. I'm going to think this instead. Notice the thoughts you don't want. Replace them with the thoughts you do want. That's the nitty-gritty of mindset work. Noticing how your mind is behaving and choosing to make it operate differently. Notice, choose, make a change. I'd like to sum a lot of this up here with 3 words in terms of mindset. In the beginning, I talked about the standard: intention, focus, detail, and effort. 3 more words to kind of hone in on to start to mold your mindset in the name of growth and development. And it's this: patience, persistence, perseverance. Patience. Trusting and understanding that things take time. We're talking about greatness, becoming the best possible version of ourselves. It's not going to happen overnight. It's not going to happen in a few weeks. It's not going to happen in a few months. It's going to be years of this work. So we have to develop patience, especially from receiving results, detaching from the outcome, being patient with our desired results and the growth and actual noticeable progress, and just trusting that what you're doing is what's best for you, and keep going and doing the work. And that's the persistence. Even when things get hard, even when you don't want to, even when you're not noticing progress right away, persisting, showing up anyway, consistently showing up doing the work. And perseverance is overcoming. because things are going to get hard. You're going to struggle at times. It's not always going to be all rainbows and cupcakes. When things do get hard, choosing to persevere, doing what needs to be done anyway, in spite of the challenges and the obstacles being thrown your way. So these are 3 P words: patience, persistence, perseverance, that I've found as well, that if we can really mold our mindset around, help us on this path to mastery, to enjoy it more and create what we want to create, be who we want to be, live how we want to live, and achieve what we want to achieve. Closing with a few tools, okay? Things that I would recommend you put into place to practice all this stuff, right? I've been talking about all different things mindset for almost an hour now. Now, how can we actually put things into practice? A simple practice that I love, especially in terms of self-talk and belief, how we think and feel about ourselves, the habitual thought patterns that we have about ourselves, is what we call affirmations. Affirmations are I am statements, as if something is already so. It already exists. You already believe that. So I have a belief that I am are the 2 most powerful words in the English dictionary when placed together. When you say I am, whatever you finish it with, you think that enough, that's what you're going to believe about yourself. So what affirmations are a simple and easy way to work on changing your mindset, to work on changing what you think and believe about yourself. So my 3 favorite affirmations are I am capable, I am powerful, I am confident. There was a period of time in my life where I didn't believe those things about myself. I didn't believe I was capable. I didn't believe I was powerful. I didn't believe I was confident. So what would I do? Every morning and every night, I would write each one of those out at least 5 times. I am capable, 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 I am powerful, I am powerful, I am powerful, I am powerful, and so on and so on. And I use those as like ammunition for when my negative thought patterns would arise, when my destructive limiting beliefs and self-talk and internal dialogue would arise. I used these affirmations as ammunition to come back to and replace the negative thought patterns with instead. I have no other way to say this, guys. The mindset work, it's nitty gritty, consistent, day in, day out, moment to moment, over and over and over and over. It doesn't end. And it takes work to change how your mind functions. So affirmations, I am statements, as if it's already so. I am powerful. Now, I notice the thoughts in my brain saying, I can't do this. So that's just what pops up. When I notice my mind thinking, I can't do this, ooh, that's not what I want to think. And I replace it with, I am powerful instead. I do that over and over and over and over and over again. Guess what won't pop up as much anymore? I can't do this. Guess what will pop up more in challenging circumstances? I am powerful. I am capable. I can handle this. So affirmations are a great tool to put into place. Just open a notebook. I'd recommend starting a journaling practice. Get a notebook on your desk. First thing you do, you wake up, you sit down, and whatever it is you want to think and believe about yourself, write it out a bunch of times over. No magic number. Write it down. Next is an evening reflection practice. This is something I still do to this day that has been so powerful for me. It's an evening reflection practice, and it's 4 things. First, beginning and focusing on with what went well today. What are the good things that happened today? And that's the question. What went well? Where did you show up how you wanted to show up? Where did you put forth great effort? Where did you receive what you wanted to receive? Where did you achieve what you wanted to achieve? What went well today? Always start with focusing on the positive. So now a whole day unfolds and all these things are happening. That we can sit down and then really focus on, here's all the good things that happened today. That is going to create a plethora of benefits for us. It's going to increase motivation and continue to move forward. It's going to help us be more grateful. It's going to attract more of those experiences. It's going to help us in every capacity, mental, physical, emotional, spiritual, all of the above. focusing on the positive and what we are already doing that's working well, we'll create more of that in the future. Next, where can I be or do better? Where can I be or do better? A simple example, in math class, I zoned out for like 5 minutes and I missed an important part of the lesson. Tomorrow, I can be better focusing in math class. That's simple. Being aware of when you did not show up how you wanted to show up, and then choosing to make a change. Next, intention. And the way I like to do it, I set an intention essentially as an answer to where I can be better. Where I can be better. Where can I be better? Focusing in math class. Intention. Tomorrow, I will focus better in math class. I will notice when my attention drifts and I'll bring my focus back to the teacher. That's an intention. And then follow it with affirmations. It could be your go-tos, I'm capable, I'm powerful, I'm confident, or it could be in alignment with where you want to be better. An affirmation in alignment with focusing better in math classes, I am the type of person who focuses in every situation that they're in. That's a simple, powerful affirmation. It could be even simpler. I am a focused person. So we're just focusing on what went well. We're bringing awareness to where we can be better. And now we're putting tools in place for our mind. We're feeding our mind fuel to be better at where we want to be better. So I would say morning and evening affirmations, then an evening reflection process. What went well today? Where can I be better? Set an intention on how to do that, and then write an I am statement as if it's already so. And we're hitting it from all cylinders. And then the last thing, if you want to work on your mindset, start a meditation practice. Meditation is the practice of noticing how our mind is behaving and choosing to make a change. Noticing when our thoughts become active, choosing to redirect our focus back to our breath. The more space we create in that space between stimulus and response, the bigger that space is, the greater our power to choose is, and then we can choose how we want our mind to function, how we want to think about ourselves, what we want to believe about ourselves, how we want to perceive the world, how we want to respond to the world around us. And that's how we make ourselves into the best version of ourselves over an extended period of time. So wrapping up, a reminder, mindset work, it's not foo-foo. Mindset is a muscle, just like your biceps. It takes consistent, nitty-gritty effort. It's not easy to make lasting change, to develop yourself and your mind into who it is you want to be, think how you want to think, believe what you want to believe, live how you want to live, and ultimately achieve what you want to achieve. It's not easy, but it is worth it, I promise. You are capable of more than you know. Your potential is limitless. And once you really start to buy into that, and you put a few tools and practices in place, and you practice consistently, you start to see, shoot, I'm capable of pretty impressive things. So lastly, I'd like to close by saying if you found any of the information shared here in this Mindset podcast episode, Cool, Calm, Connected, the online course that will be rolling out in a few months, there are entire sections on everything and a lot more that we discussed in here, breaking it down in detail with more tools and exercises and ways to practice. So just keep that in mind, that if you're enjoying what we're discussing here on the podcast, there's essentially a PhD level course in everything I'm sharing here that you can access in the Cool, Calm, Connected online course when it is available. All right. As always, can't thank you all enough for being here. If you sat through the whole hour and listened, incredibly grateful and impressed by you. So grateful to do this work, to share all these things. I know how valuable it's all been for me and how powerful it's been and how much it's helped me. And even if it's just one person listening right now, if you're still here listening and you're finding value in this and it's helping you become a better version of you, I'm going to keep sitting down. I'm going to keep showing up, and I'm going to keep sharing what's on my heart. Thank you guys for listening. Reminder, this book and list of other books on mindset are in the description. And as always, please help share and spread the word by liking, commenting, subscribing, sharing. Anything you see on social media, cool, calm, connected related, I'm asking for your help to help me be of service to the world and create more impact and positive change. Thank you guys. Love you guys. Peace and love, everybody. Be kind to one another.